guys, welcome to week 4 of Better Drums, the 10-week Church Drummer Challenge. This is the quarantine edition, so this is something that we've been working on for a couple of weeks here. We're going live a little bit more frequently than once a week, and to all of you who have been tuning in and joining and working through the material, thank you very much. I hope it's been helpful. Just to give a quick recap on that, this is the book, and you can download it at the website. And you can download it by chapter or the whole book. And so the idea here is to help church drummers have a way to improve now while we're all locked indoors. And one of the primary goals of the book is to help you learn how to read. Okay, so hopefully, you guys are coming along. We've been through quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, and broken 16th notes last week. This week, we're starting off with something a little bit unique. So it's called sight reading. The idea with sight reading is that you read something you've never seen before. It's like, if you, browse a web page and read something, you don't know the words that are going to be there, So you'd have to be able to really read the language in order to successfully read it. That's the same thing with sight reading, is that you're going to have a piece of music. In this case, it's still snare drum stuff, and you're going to read it without having ever read it before. So sight reading. And this is something that, I teach at UST, and this is something that a lot of drummers are quite scared of, really, is sight reading, whether it's charts or snare drum pieces. So this week 4 in this challenge, we're getting to sight reading. So of course I'm not going to show you the whole sight reading exercise, but I'll throw it up here. Take a look at it while I talk a little bit and see if you can read that. So it's combinations of quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes, and some broken 16th notes. And this is just one of, I think it's 16 bars. So this is 4 out of 16 of the bars for the sight reading. So take a look at that quickly. Does it look like something you could play, get through okay? And if yes, great, sight reading, here you are with your first sight reading 4 weeks in. And if you're reading, that's something to be very proud of. So here we go with it, all right? So I'll give you a reference of the time here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's a simple, actually that was only 3 bars. So that's a simple way to get through some sight reading. And if you were able to do that, congratulations, you've come a long way. So there's no new reading material this week. It's just a recap. Hopefully you can get a little bit more comfortable with the material presented in the first 3 weeks and an introduction to sight reading. And hopefully you will not have any nightmares as a result of this experience. All right, then we're moving along with some fill-ins. And so here we have a fill-in for Lion and the Lamb, and it's applying the idea of 16th notes. And in the book, you can click that blue link, and it takes you to that part of the song from Bethel, that exact part, and you can hear the drummer play that fill-in written exactly that way. So that's pretty cool. You use your ears to help you, because a lot of Filipino drummers have great ears, and you can use that as a tool to improve with your reading. And so I'll just play this fill-in for you quick. Okay, one more time. All right, so that's Lion and the Lamb, and that's a fill-in. And again, the great thing with fill-ins, if you hear a fill-in that you like, that somehow, draws your ear, copy it note for note, and you'd be surprised. You can put this fill-in in a lot of different songs, and people aren't going to say, wow, hey, drummer, you just ripped off the fill-in from Lion and the Lamb. Nobody's even going to know that, So that's how you build your vocabulary. You think about these fill-ins, it's just like learning different words, and then you put the words together in a different way, and you form an idea. All right. So another fill-in that's presented in this week is from the song Holy Spirit. Okay. So I'll play this one. Find the tempo. Okay. One more time on that. All right, and so this one's pretty cool because, the crash kind of stays through the beginning of the fill-in there. I like that a lot. And so, if you catch an idea like that, try to apply it to things that you play so that you're taking not just a fill-in, but an idea from a fill-in and hopefully applying it in a much broader sense then. So then, of course, we have something here. It's double stops, and you play the snare and the floor tom together. And the challenge here is that it happens with the foot as quarter notes. So you can see the bass drum on the bottom space there. And so it sounds like this. And this is something, church drummers, man, we really got to get this together nowadays because this is everywhere. And so, I mean, some popular songs recently that have used this is This I Believe and Forever, but really you hear it in a lot of places. So what you want to be careful for here is that you don't want flamming between the hands and the foot where it's, you can hear the bass drum hitting early compared to the hands, and you don't want flamming between all three. That doesn't sound very good. You want it to really be this like push, And so that's actually a little bit tricky if you're not careful for it. You'd be surprised that if you went back and listened to how you actually play it, you might be surprised to find that you're flamming or there's some problems with the time. And if there is, you won't be able to push songs as well as you could using this idea in those sections. So this is one idea that's presented in this chapter, and the next one is still using quarter notes, but then instead of eighth notes, you go to 16th notes. And you hear this a lot in songs where they go from the eighth note into the 16th note and then into, say, another section of the song. But the 16th note sounds like this. So, you might hear something like, so that might be a common way that this type of an idea is used. So hopefully that helps you get those ideas together because, man, they're in a lot of places with contemporary worship now. So we've got to be good with that. So one of the things we worked on last week was the groove for a Come Now Is the Time to Worship, and that's this one. I'll play the groove quick as it's presented here. All right. So what we're doing this week is that we're taking two ostinatos, and an ostinato is a repeating pattern, two ostinatos that we've worked on and learned. One is the single-handed 16th, and the other one is hand-to-hand 16ths. And we're applying it to eighth note-based grooves that we learned, but we're keeping the bass drum and the snare drum, and we're changing the ostinato out. So that would sound like this for this particular beat. Or hand-to-hand 16ths. Okay, and so in the book, in this particular chapter, you're going to work through a bunch of different grooves using this idea of changing the ostinato. And, you'll run into songs that use different ostinatos. Sometimes songs switch ostinatos within the song. So being able to do that is a very valuable thing. All right, and then we'll go, of course, we got rudiments this week. And so we've been through the single stroke roll, double stroke roll, and single paradiddle. So this week you've got the double paradiddle and the triple paradiddle. What you see on your screen there is the double paradiddle. So para, paradiddle, para, paradiddle. And the great thing with the paradiddles is that it changes the lead. So for one measure here of the 3/4, you're on a right lead, and for the next measure, you're on a left lead. So what that sounds like is this. All right, and so one thing that you guys can start to do, if you haven't or if you don't, is to try to apply rudiments to the drum set in some way. That way you're actually going to use them. So you don't want it to just be this exercise that you play on the snare drum. You want to be able to apply it to the drums in some way. And so one easy way is to just put the right hand on the hi-hat and the left hand on the snare. And so I'll play a way that you can orchestrate this particular groove. Okay, and so that's using it just between the hi-hat and snare, and I just put quarter notes in the bass drum, and I just jump from a groove into that particular rudiment. So this is a cool rudiment. You can use it in 4/4 time as triplets or 16th note triplets, or as it's written there in 3/4 time. But don't think that if something is in 3/4, you can't use it in 4/4. You can change the subdivision, and you can still find a way to apply it. All right, and then this week we're going to end things off with hand-foot. And so hand-foot is something you always want to be working on. Generally, the feet just don't really keep up well with the hands, and it's somewhere or something, an aspect of your drumming that you really have to work on and give time to. And so I've been mentioning that we should use a metronome. So the metronome helps us improve our time. And so today you can see that we're jumping the subdivisions using the examples that start with the foot. So in this particular one, it sounds like this. All right, and so now we're going to put on a metronome. So check it out. And so the metronome is great because it helps you lock in, it forces you to feel where a groove is, and if you feel yourself speeding up or slowing down, you can make adjustments, and hopefully you won't have those tendencies show up in your worship services. So I hope that chapter 4 will be beneficial and helpful. I'll try to be back again sometime middle of next week for week 5, right? And so again, those of you who've been following along, thank you very much. I hope everyone is safe and well. Have a great night. Keep on drumming. God bless you.